Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, going to give all glory and praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostle and elders, great millstone. Peace, salutations to the men that's out here pushing his truth. Alright, and Shalom to the light. Alright, just finna get into this quick lesson. Alright, I was watching Apostle Horror's new video, and, he was going in. What was the title? The Year of the Apostates, something like that. It's new, it just came out, and he was going in. I think I only watched like 3 minutes of it, 4 minutes, something like that, and do a side, using what 1 Corinthians 15 and 22 to prove that heathen nations can be delivered, they can be saved, and I wanted to go into it. My mind started racing, the spirit, started, putting precepts in my head, So here, 1 Corinthians 15 and 22, for as in Adam all die, even so in Yahushua HaMashiach shall all be made alive, alright? Because what? Yahushua, he came down on this earth to what? Die for our sins, for the nation of Israel's sins, alright? And who can sin? Alright? That's the first question. Who can sin? Alright, who did Moses, who did Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua command Moses to give the law, statutes, and commandments to? Israel, alright, upon Mount Sinai, alright? You can find that in Exodus 19, Exodus chapter 19 and chapter 20, alright? It was the nation of Israel, alright? So we're the ones that can sin. So Yahushua came through, alright, came down here on this earth, alright, to die for us, alright. So what? So we can receive this word, alright. This is Matthew 26 and verse 26. Matthew 26 and 26. And as they were eating, Yahushua took bread and blessed it, and brake it, and gave it to the disciples, and said, take, eat, this is my body. And he took the cup and gave thanks, and gave it to them, saying, drink ye all of it, for this is the blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins, all right, for the pardon of sins, for the forgiveness of sins, all right. So what? Yahushua's blood being what's the word? Basically Yahushua dying, that was to what? Get us in the good graces with Yahweh. Alright? Not the whole world, alright, because what? Here, let me get something else too. This is the book of Galatians chapter 4 and verse 4. But when the fullness of the time was come, Yahweh sent forth his son, made of a woman, made under the law, to redeem them that were under the law, that we might receive the adoptions of sons. So see, who's under the law again? All right. Did Moses give the law, statutes, and commandments to the whole world? Was he speaking to the whole world? when upon Mount Sinai? Nah, he was only speaking to who? The nation of Israel. All right. So Yahushua came down and died for our sins. All right, to redeem us back. All right, to get us in the good graces with Yahweh again. All right. Salakia. All right. Let me get something else too. Because what, in that 1 Corinthians 15, it said what? Let me go to it again. 1 Corinthians 15 and 22. For as in Adam all die, even so Yahushua HaMashiach shall all be made alive. Alright? And how are you made alive? Through this word. Alright? Because what? Here, let me get something else too. Proverbs 21 and 16, it says, the man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. All right. So we were spiritually dead. All right. Because what? We was going off. We was sinning. All right. Let me get something else too. I want to hit this first, or Second Ezra 3 and verse 34. It says, weigh thou therefore our wickedness now in the balance, and there's also that dwell in the world, and so shall thy name nowhere be found but in Israel. All right. Or when was it that they which would they select it? Or when was it that they which dwell upon the earth have not sinned in thy sight? Or what people hath so kept thy commandments? That's a question right there. All right. Thou shalt find that Israel by name hath kept thy precepts, but not the heathen. So see, the heathens never, cared about the words of the Lord. All right, they never cared about the words of the Lord. All right, only Israel. All right, only Israel kept. What did it say? Kept thy precepts. All right, kept the words of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. All right, but what? We will sin. So therefore we were spiritually dead, and therefore the Lord, cast us off as a people. But what? Sent Yahweh Shah, all right, to die for our sins. So what? We can be made alive again, That's what, here, I'm going to get something else too. Give me a second. This is the book of Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 1. And you hath he quickened who were dead in trespasses and sins. All right. So what? We were spiritually dead. All right. As we went into Proverbs 21st chapter. All right. As a nation. All right, but what? Yahweh Shah came through and died for our sins, that what? We can receive this truth. All right, you can read about that. I believe that's what? Revelations, 5th chapter, or 4th. It might be the 5th or 6th, somewhere around there, But what? We were, shit. Let me see. Just to prove what I just said real quick. Yep, Revelations 5 and verse 4. And I wept much, because no man was found worthy to open and to read the book, neither to look thereon. And one of the elders said unto me, weep not. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and loose the 7 seals thereof. All right, that's Yahweh Shah. All right, Yahweh Shah is the one that was able to unlock the understanding. All right, and therefore, it carried on, him dying for us, now we're able to understand the words of this book, understand, these scriptures. All right. All right. And I beheld, and lo, in the midst of the throne and of the 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders stood a lamb. All right, that's Yahweh Shah, that lamb, as it had been slain. All right, because what? He had to, go through it first. He had to go through it. All right. As it had been slain, having 7 horns, all right, and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, sent forth into all the earth. All right. So see, that's a representation of him. Him being slain, dying for our sins. All right. And now, therefore, the spirit, all right, now we're able to be made alive now. All right, we're quickened. All right. So we was dead in our sins. All right, but what? Yahweh Shah came through. All right. Ephesians 2 and verse 5. Even when we were dead in sins, hath quickened us. All right, made alive. Quicken going into made alive. All right, even when we were dead in sin. So who was able to sin again? All right, who was able to sin? The nation of Israel. You know, because the Lord gave us the law, statutes, and commandments. He didn't give everybody the law, statutes, and commandments. All right. Even when we were dead in sins, hath quickened us together with Yahushua Hamashiach. By grace are ye saved. So see, all right. So Yahushua, all right. Yahushua made us alive. All right. He ain't make, he ain't give this truth to, the heathens too. you know. So let me go back to that 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 22. For as in Adam all die, even so in Yahushua Hamashiach shall all be made alive. So see, so who is that? Who's made alive? The elect. All right, we're the ones that Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua gave this truth to. All right, Lord willing, I'm part of that number, and whoever else is listening in sincerity, So what? So what? That doesn't prove that the heathen nations can be delivered, Because it first starts with this understanding being made alive. All right. So that was pretty much it. That was precepts that came up to my head. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Going to give all the glory and the praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahushua Ba'Shem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostle and elders, great millstone. Peace and salutations to the men that's out here pushing this truth. All right, and shalom to the elect. Shalom.